Karlene, thank you for joining me. We're here in Hawaii for the National Association for
Mhm.
Plant Breeding Conference, and you're a Borlaug Scholar. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here in Hawaii, definitely for sure.
It is indeed. Now, you grew up on a corn and cattle farm, and now you're using AI to help shape the future of plant breeding. What was the moment you realized data science could transform how we grow food? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I do. I was trying to go back to when I first really started getting into the kind of more data science aspect of plant breeding. I was writing a review article, and the people who had requested the review wanted all of crop improvement, not even just plant breeding. I was making my outline, and it just kept going on and on and on. And I think that's when I really realized all of the different applications and all of the different ways that have already been really successful in employing AI and data science for crop improvement tasks.
Now, you're working to adapt AI models for genomic prediction in crops like corn and sorghum. What's the biggest challenge in sort of translating that technology from fields like image recognition into plant breeding specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Images are a pretty standard sort of data type. And so I think those technologies become applicable across all sorts of different fields. I think perhaps the challenge that plant breeding specifically faces is the data types that we're working with. I think the specific type of genetic data that we're working with, while within the field everybody's using it, I think across other fields it's not something that's common, or even the underlying principles of that data type is not really common across other fields. So I think plant breeding breeders and breeding adjacent people really need to be thinking about how their domain knowledge can get translated into these technologies. I think that's really where the gap is and where we really need to work on for the future.
Big data is sort of exploding in plant breeding, right? How do you make sure the models you're building don't just crunch numbers, but actually reflect the way crops behave in the real world?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a major concern that we're seeing with a lot of these models. Specifically, I think it's really important for plant breeders to be involved in developing these models. It's kind of when people outside of the field are maybe trying to develop some technologies. I think that's where we see the kind of drop off between it representing what's really going on with our plants versus just kind of the latest iteration of data science model. Some of the models that I'm working with will never have a complete understanding of how they're representing different crop aspects. But I think definitely making sure we follow the old modeling adage of models are never correct. They're merely useful. And I think as long as our models remain useful, I think that will be really to the advantage of plant breeders and other people working on them.
So you have roots in both animal and plant science. How does your diverse background sort of give you a different perspective on solving today's breeding challenges?
Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot of overlap between the fields of animal breeding and genetics and plant breeding and genetics, but there are also a lot of things that are different. I think my background, I started in animal science. I think that really gives me the advantage when maybe we're looking at some of this cross-discipline research or even translating plant breeding objectives specifically for crops that will be used as animal feeds. I think having that background in animal science really opened my eyes at the beginning of how important it is to work in collaboration with people in other fields that are doing similar research.
Before I let you go, you've said that better prediction tools can speed up the release of improved crop varieties. What's one real world change farmers might see if your specific research succeeds?
Yeah, I think the biggest advantage of better prediction accuracies will be getting plants that are in breeding pipelines at your favorite seed company into the hands of farmers faster. I think that will allow this field to be a lot more up to date potentially with some of the issues, whether it's new diseases or pests or still just keeping up with yield to, continue to feed the world. I think that will be the biggest deliverable out of my research if it can be successful.
Thank you, Karlene. Congrats on your Borlaug Scholarship.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've really enjoyed my involvement with the program.